The United States, 4 cities, 2 conferences. In the West, San Antonio and Oklahoma City. In the East, Cleveland and New York. 4 places with almost nothing in common, except that right now, every basketball fan on earth is watching them. Southern Texas, 240 kilometers north of the Mexican border, population 1.4 million. The seventh largest US city. Its NBA arena sits alone in an industrial district, miles from the city center. How did that happen? The answer begins in 1718. 1718, Spanish Franciscan priests planted a settlement on the edge of empire, not just a church, an entire irrigation system, the first infrastructure of San Antonio. 1731, 16 families arrived from the Canary Islands, a former plaza, a civic grid, the first planned urban order in Texas. 1836, the mission becomes a fortress. The Battle of the Alamo lasts 13 days. The tension between preservation and development never fully resolved. 1877, the railroad arrives. San Antonio becomes the largest city in Texas overnight. 1929, architect Robert Hugman proposed preserving the river as a pedestrian promenade. The Riverwalk, completed in 1941, one of the most visited urban spaces in America. 1968, the city turns 250 and throws itself a World Fair. An entire neighborhood cleared. The Tower of the Americas rises, a vast civic void left behind at the edge of downtown. 2002, the Spurs opens a new arena, but not downtown, built in an industrial district, surrounded by parking lots, no street life. The Spurs win 4 championships. The neighborhood never changes. 2025, Project Marvel, a $2.5 billion master plan. The Spurs are coming back downtown. The 1968 Texas Pavilion is demolished, designed by the only Mexican-American architect in San Antonio's downtown history. The Conservation Society sues. The courts grant immunity. The building falls. 2026, 9 consortiums selected. 1.3 billion committed. San Antonio is correcting 50 years of spatial mistakes in a single decade. Before or after the game, the Riverwalk, the Alamo, the Pearl District. Frost Bank Center opened 2002. Capacity 18,418. East Side Industrial District. No transit, no street life. The new arena. Hemisphere Park. Cost up to 1.5 billion. Expected opening 2030. For the first time, San Antonio will have an arena inside its downtown core. Data center of Oklahoma, data center of the Great Plains. Population 700,000. Nearest major city, 3 hours in any direction. Oklahoma City didn't just get an NBA franchise, it took one. The story starts in 1889 with a cannon shot. April 22, 1889, noon, a cannon fires. 50,000 people sprint across open prairie. By nightfall, a city of 10,000 where nothing stood at dawn. No plan, no infrastructure, just a military grid stamped onto raw earth. 1910, the state capital moves to Oklahoma City. On its eastern edge, district of red brick warehouses rises. They call it Bricktown. 1926, Route 66 cuts through Oklahoma City. The city becomes a node on America's most famous road, but it also reveals its profound isolation. 1928, oil, a massive field discovered within city limits. Drilling rigs appear on the state capitol grounds. When oil collapses in the 1980s, downtown collapses within it. 1993, no bonds, no debts, a 1% sales tax, self-imposed, voted on by the people. Dedicated to rebuilding downtown. They call it MAPS. It passes. April 19, 1995, a truck bomb detonates at the Murrah Federal Building. 168 people are killed. The deadliest domestic terrorism in America before 9/11. Oklahoma City does not abandon its downtown. MAPS becomes the engine of reconstruction. 2002, built entirely with MAPS funds, no debt, the downtown arena opens. 2005, Hurricane Katrina forces the New Orleans Hornets to relocate here. The arena sells out every game. The message to the NBA, this city is ready. 2008, Clay Bennett purchases the Seattle Supersonics. Seattle's colors and history are left behind. The draft picks make the move. A rookie named Kevin Durant, another named Russell Westbrook. 2026, citizens voted to commit $900 million to a new downtown arena, debt-free residence tower, 581 meters, breaks ground in Bricktown. If completed, the tallest building in the United States. Bricktown Canal, the Oklahoma City Memorial, the National Cowboy Museum. Paycom Center opened in 2002, capacity 18,203. Downtown Oklahoma City, built without debt, funded by citizen tax dollars. Hotels, restaurants, and bars grew around it through the 2000s and the 2010s. The new arena, $900 million. MAPS 4 funded. Same neighborhood, more ambition. Oklahoma City has self-funded 2 NBA arenas. No other city has done this twice. Northern Ohio, the southern shore of Lake Erie. Population, 370,000. Once the 5th largest city in the United States. Now the symbol of the Rust Belt. Cleveland has been counted out more times than any city in America. It keeps getting back up. 1796, General Moses Cleveland surveys the mouth of the Cuyahoga River. At its center, a public square. Everything Cleveland has built radiates from it. 1832, the Ohio and Erie Canal. Iron ore from the north, coal from the south. A small town becomes one of the great industrial logistics hubs of the 19th century. 1870, J.D. Rockefeller found Standard Oil in Cleveland. By the 1920s, the 5th largest city in America. 1890, the Arcade, one of America's first indoor shopping galleries. Playhouse Square, the Cleveland Museum of Art, a cultural grid so dense it still holds the city together. 1947, Burke Lake Front Airport. Land, water, rail, and air converging at the urban core. Cleveland's last great infrastructure statement before the long decline. Japan, Korea, then the Sun Belt. The forces that hollowed out American manufacturing converge on Cleveland. Population drops from 900 to under 400,000. Downtown empties. 1994, sin taxes, levied on cigarettes and alcohol, fund the Gateway Sports Complex. Progressive Field, baseball, Rocket Mortgages, Field House, NBA, side by side in the urban core. A defibrillator applied directly to the chest of a dying downtown. LeBron James was born in Akron, Ohio. He left for Miami in 2010. The city felt it like an abandonment. But he came back in 2014. 2016, a championship, the first in 52 years. For a Rust Belt city that had absorbed decades of loss, the moment was not just about basketball, it was about whether a place could still believe in itself. 2026, a master plan to reconnect downtown to the Cuyahoga River and Lake Erie, sealed off since mid-century by industrial infrastructure and elevated highways. A structural correction 50 years in the making. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the West Side Market, East 4th Street. Rocket Mortgage Field House opened 1994. Capacity 19,432. 1 block from a public square. Funded by sin taxes, renovated twice. Most recently, $184 million upgrade. Hotels, restaurants, and bars grew around it over 30 years. Cleveland showed the way. Sports infrastructure, placed inside the city fabric, can save a downtown. Manhattan, between 7th and 8th Avenues, 31st and 33rd Street, the world's most famous arena, above the world's most degraded major transit hub, one on top of the other. One of the great cautionary tales in the history of cities. 1811, the Commissioner's Plan, a relentless octagonal grid across all of Manhattan, a capitalist instrument disguised as city planning. Every block, every lot, every future building constrained by it. 1910, McKim, Mead, and White complete Pennsylvania Station, pink granite columns modeled on the baths of Caracalla. A soaring steel and glass train shed, waiting rooms the size of cathedrals. You enter the New York like a god. By the 1950s, the Pennsylvania Railroad is hemorrhaging money. Highways and aviation have taken its passengers. The air rights above Penn Station are sold to developers. The palace is condemned by accountancy. October 1963, despite the protest from architects worldwide, it is demolished. Its pink granite columns trucked to a landfill in the New Jersey Meadowlands. Not a fragment preserved. The demolition of Penn Station produces one lasting consequence. New York City passes the Landmarks Preservation Law. 1965, it saves Grand Central Terminal, threatened with the same fate just years later. Penn Station was destroyed so everything else could survive. 1968, MSG opens on the same footprint, above ground, a commercial tower and a concrete arena. Below ground, the rail infrastructure compressed into a labyrinth. 600,000 people pass through it every day. MSG, the self-proclaimed world's most famous arena. The Knicks play there. Every major tour stops there, directly below the arena floor. One of the worst transit environments in the developed world. Spectacle above, squalor below. New York normalizes it. 2021, Moynihan Train Hall, the J.A. Farley Post Office building, converted into a soaring glass-roofed concourse. Natural light restored to Penn Station for the first time in 58 years. Not a replacement, an acknowledgement that what was destroyed in 1963 was irreplaceable. 2026, New York City Council extends MSG's permit by 5 years only. Maximum pressure on the Dolan family to relocate the arena. Proposed reconstruction, 12 to 16 billion. Permit expires 2028. What happens next will define this block and this city for the next century. The High Line, Chelsea Market, the Empire State Building. Madison Square Garden opened 1968, capacity 19,812, the most commercially successful arena in the world. More revenue per event than any other revenue venue on earth, directly below its floor. Penn Station handles more passengers per day than JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark combined. Every one of those passengers moves through a space designed as a temporary fix in 1968. The city that destroyed the Penn Station is finally deciding what to put in its place. San Antonio is coming back downtown. Oklahoma City is reaching for the sky. Cleveland is reclaiming its waterfront. New York is trying to undo 60 years of damage. 4 cities, 4 different answers to the same question. Can sport change a city? The court is set. The season is now. Google links to local attractions and hotels near each arena are in the description below. City of Lions. Thank you.